You don't see them at all as a competitor?
No.
Why is that? I mean, they offer a lower price point.
I don't think they have a great product.
Why is that?
I don't think it's particularly attractive. The technology is not very strong. And BYD as a company has pretty severe problems in their home turf in China.
Right.
So I think their focus is, and rightly should be, on making sure they don't die in China.
Elon Musk is not wrong, folks. China is the only country expected to dominate the transition to electric vehicles, which is essentially the biggest such transformation we've had since the Industrial Revolution. Electric vehicles are simpler to manufacture than their gasoline counterparts and have a much more streamlined supply chain of components. And that is exactly what China has been really good at over the past 2 decades. Cheap manufacturing, cheap labor, paired with an extremely stringent focus on mining, supply chain, and localizing of design and engineering support have made mainland China a dominant force in the technology industry. And it's pretty clear that right now the crown is being tossed from Germany and Europe all the way to Eastern Asia. BYD, as a matter of fact, which is China's largest automaker through its insane vertical integration, has just overtook Tesla China in overall EV sales in the last quarter of 2023. And that trend is not expected to change anytime soon in the foreseeable future. However, despite all these headlines of insane growth in the Chinese EV industry, most of the Western population in Europe and North America has yet to even experience sitting inside one of these Chinese cars. The stereotype is that these vehicles are potentially going to be poor quality, unreliable, and not going to last nearly as long as those made in Japan. But very few of such skeptics have been able to actually verify their opinions by sitting and experiencing one of these Chinese cars firsthand until now. That's right, folks. At CES 2024 in Las Vegas, I got my first-hand look at a few of China's best automotive offerings, and it's safe to say my opinions have changed significantly. In this video, I'm going to take you guys on a brief tour of Nio, Zeekr Automotive, and a few new Southern Asian automakers to understand how these vehicles are built and whether or not they will sell well in America. But as usual, folks, before we get into it, make sure to drop me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And let's start off with the Nio ET6, which was one of the very first booths that I ran across when I entered the CES Convention Center in Las Vegas. It was a relatively small booth, but it was a very big surprise to see a Chinese EV built in China sitting in basically the desert of Nevada. And I have to say, my first impressions of the vehicle were very nice. The very first thing that stood out is the sincere amount of sensors, radars, and even LiDAR equipment on the roof of the vehicle, as well as on the bumper and the rear 3 quarters. Clearly, Chinese vehicles are designed for autonomy and being connected to other systems and even potentially other cars, and that is certainly the right direction for the industry. Hate it or love it, autonomous vehicles are an important innovation, and we need to invest in the right kind of cars to be able to do that, and Tesla has already showcased how impressive that is right now. The fit and finish, although is not the best, with creaking sounds and also mismatched gaps here and there throughout the interiors if you have a fine eye, is on par with the likes of your Fords, your GMs, or even more established brands like Cadillac. German engineers were, as a matter of fact, hired to design and build these interiors, which means those in the West are going to be very comfortable with where they are, except for the logo. And that was not all. Zeekr, which is a new Chinese startup backed by Geely and the Volvo Auto Group, also was at the show with their 007 sedan that was launched literally last month. Fresh out of the production line on China, fit and finish on this vehicle was extremely impressive. Not to mention the design, which is significantly unique and definitely stands out in such a saturated EV market today. And with a starting price of, get this, $29,000 USD converted from the rates in China, this is a really impressive feat from a startup and goes to show just how quickly the market is evolving in that country. Converted to EPA, the CLTC range of 540 miles comes out to about 351 miles for this vehicle, which means it is right on par with what you can expect from a Model 3, with none of the same looks or none of the outdated hardware. And this innovation isn't just limited to the companies in China, as seen by the booth of VinFast, which is a newly released Vietnamese startup. This company had significant amount of attention with its new VF9 and VF8 SUVs that have just launched in California, basically with really no media attention thrown at them just yet. Inside, the vehicles are built just like you would expect them to, with obvious caveats to disregard the driving experience or reliability, which yet has to be obviously tested. But simply because of the competition we're seeing in this space, it is really easy to assume that the Chinese space is something to watch and invest in aggressively. Yeah, despite all the fears of recession and the Chinese unemployment rate, the country clearly knows how to turn concept into mass production really well, unlike those startups in the United States. Just have a look at Byton or Faraday Future and how fast those startups failed, and see how well the concepts turn into reality from the likes here of Zeekr, VinFast, and Nio. Because clearly there is a pretty big difference in approach of both types of companies. But as usual, folks, that is just my take on the situation. Let me know your thoughts on the Chinese EV race down in the comment section below, and your favorite pick from the vehicles I experienced in CES 2024. As usual, folks, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.